Now, you do a lot of improv stuff, you know. Is it hard to find guys that can just kind of play off the cuff like that?
It is, you know, for the most part. I think it takes a special type of musician. Fortunately, I've arranged, you know, a good quality musicians for this album. I'm really excited about it.
Now, when you work with these guys, since it's so improv oriented, do you kind of have a skeletal structure for them?
Well, I have typically the way that jazz works is we have a list of the changes, you know, the chord progressions, you know, and then we also have you know, our melody, our set melody that we have, you know, just like any song, you know, every song has their, you know, their melody, and then they have chords that go underneath it, and then, you know, we just improvise over the changes. It's not very much different than, you know, a rock musician, you know, would do, or a blues musician would do. It's just we tend to use different changes, you know, than a blues or rock musician would. And particularly with, you know, with this album, I've given everybody a large amount of freedom to be able to do what they want to do.
Start your career in music?
I've been playing since I was 7. My parents got me a keyboard, a little small one, and I didn't really take it too seriously until I went to college, which was I went to college when I was 14, and you know, started studying music there at Fresno, or actually in Palomar College down south in San Diego, and then we moved up to Fresno. And I studied with Mike Dana, and I also studied with Andre Bush. And Mike's actually a big, he's one of the better well-known people in Fresno when it comes to jazz. And he studied with Joe Pass, and he played on sessions with Cannonball Adderley, and he's done a lot of big things in his own right. But being a classical musician, at that time, Mike taught me how to play jazz piano, and he's a guitar player. So you can just imagine, what he's shown me, with that. And then I kind of took the next step. And, of course, I've listened to, Art Tatum, Thelonious Monk, Bud Powell, even, newer people like Chick Corea, Hiromi Uehara. These people, these are, people that I listen to, on a daily basis. And, Oscar Peterson as well. I mean, there's a wide plethora of people that have done this before me. The one thing that I have noticed is a lot of people do not do it the way that I'm trying to do it. And I think I'm following in a long lineage of people like Miles Davis and John Coltrane, and even, Bud Powell and Thelonious Monk. These people, if they were alive today, they wouldn't be playing the same music that people are still playing from the 40s or the 50s. Which is kind of unfortunate. A lot of people think jazz is that sound, but they kind of neglect the last 60 years, of music. And I think you kind of have to, as a jazz musician, you kind of have to really look into what's going on around you. One of the reasons that jazz has become almost dead, in this particular time frame that we're in, is because a lot of jazz musicians really are neglectful of what's going on around them, And the sad thing is, from the 40s and the 50s, these people were playing popular tunes. They were taking pop tunes and they were turning them into jazz songs. And nobody really does that these days. They think it's heresy or, whatever you want to, call it. They put jazz on this high pedestal, and they say that, it can't change from here. But you look at Miles Davis, you look at John Coltrane, you look at a lot of these pioneers in the field, and they were consistently changing their band every 5 years, changing things that that they did to make them different and to make them actually accessible to the people that they play for.